friends, welcome back for the first time ever. It's that time of the year again where everybody is talking about their goals for 2025, and this video is going to be no different. My goals for this year are going to be very art focused, but before we get into any goal making, I think it's crucial to look at what I've already achieved this past year. You see, I only started my art journey back in 2019, 2020, after I had already graduated from university for a different art, that art being photography. I felt really confident in the beginning because, I had all these fundamentals from photography that should have given me a leg up in my mind. I knew about color theory, I knew about composition, I knew about lighting, but there was one problem with starting a whole new craft. I was really bad at it, like supremely bad at it. I had just graduated art school, and starting over a new art was very humbling, and it took me a lot to get through that. It made the first 2 years of my art journey really tough, and I feel like I really only started to figure it out about 2 years ago now. But you know what? Once I mostly got over the perfectionist attitude and started doing more art, lo and behold, I started getting better. I made a whole VTuber model and actually managed to push out a webcomic prologue for a story that's been kicking around in my head for almost 10 years now. I finally mostly finished an Inktober this past October, which has been an art goal of mine for my entire art journey. I'm feeling pretty good. Art isn't easy, but it's fun. I feel confident that I can draw what I want. Anything, really, that I want, as long as I have the time to do it. So the question for me becomes, what do I want my 2025 to look like to keep this momentum and this confidence going? What goal do I need to have to make sure that my 2025 art becomes that much better than what I've been able to create in 2024? Well, the easy answer is one thing: consistency. I want to build and focus on the skills that will help me make art consistently and freely. Currently, I rely really heavily on reference, and I don't think that's a bad thing in the beginning of your art journey, but I need to grow and be able to do it on my own. I think the best way to do that is just to expand my visual library by drawing a lot. But let's break down what I want that consistency to mean. I have narrowed down the top 4 art goals that I want to focus on for 2025. Number 1 is I want to be able to draw a basic human figure without a reference. Number 2, I want to have a well-oiled digital art process, just meaning that I want to have one consistently and not always mess with brushes and settings. Number 3, I want to start and finish a sketchbook. I actually really recently finished my second ever sketchbook. My first one, I think I finished up last year. So I have been speeding up my process for sketchbooks, and I think it's helped my art a lot, and I want to continue that. So giving myself the timeline of a year to finish one seems like a pretty good idea. Last but not least, number 4, I want to have an online portfolio. Now, obviously, I'm doing art online and I'm sharing it, making content for people, but in case I ever wanted to dive into the art industry, I need to have somewhere where I can showcase my art, and I think an online portfolio would be great for that. I love setting goals, but even more than setting the goals, I love planning how I plan to achieve those goals. I have loosely planned out my 2025 art journey by month so that I have a vague idea of what I want to do or work on in each month. Now, there's obviously going to be a little bit of leeway because life happens, mental health happens, so I've given myself definite wiggle room in there to change and move stuff as it happens. Also, maybe I will catch on to some things very easily and other things not so easily. If I went through my monthly plan in any detail, this video would be about twice as long, so I'm just going to quickly go through each month with the bullet points. Alright, in January I have the Draw a Box challenge, which I have attempted and failed 2 times now, so another challenge that I just want to finish to add to my repertoire. I have body construction also in that month. Feels good to put that one with Draw a Box. I feel like it makes sense. In February, I have head construction and hair construction, as well as the portrait challenge or the 100 head challenge or 100 faces challenge. It's been called a lot of different things on YouTube. In March, I have clothing and textures. In April, I have anatomy and facial expressions. I also have hands and feet, but it's kind of on the bottom, and I think it could be in March or April, so we'll see when I want to look at some feet or hands. Yeah, in that order, hands and then feet. In May, I have character artist studies and fan art. So studying artists that I really like, studying animation that I really like, and drawing from that, seeing if I can pick up anything that I haven't been trying in my own art. In June, I'm going to be focusing on composition, photo studies, and color theory. So going back to my photography roots and delving into probably everything I learned in school. In July, I just have backgrounds. I feel like they need a full month because there's a lot of different things in backgrounds. There's a lot of different ways you could use them. In August, I have environment artist studies and fan art for environments. So earlier it was fan art for characters, and this one's fan art for environments because I do want to delve in a bit more, and after a full month of studying backgrounds, doing some environment artist studies makes sense. Even I might switch around August and July's goals, but we'll see how I'm feeling at that point in time. In September, I have object design and textures. And actually, I also want to experiment a little bit with 3D, especially when it comes to object and interior design. Having sets that I can build up, especially for someone who's making a webcomic, seems like a really good idea. I've also always really wanted to learn Blender. I have delved into it a little bit, but we'll see how far I get with it. In October, I just have Inktober. I did Inktober last year and it was fun. I think I could do it in a more fun way next year now that I know I can do it. In November, I have Review My Weak Points, and I also wrote Animals or Creatures. I want to take a look at all of the things that I've done and see if anything really stuck out to me as a little too hard or something that needs refining. And I think I just wrote animals or creatures down at this point because I hadn't delved into it so far, and I think it would be fun to de-stress by drawing some cute animals. In December, I just have portfolio creation. So taking everything I created during the year and previous years and combining them into a loving portfolio of all of my work, all of my blood, sweat, and tears into one place. Now, while I do feel like I've given future me a lot of wiggle room, as I mentioned earlier, maybe it's not enough, and I need to be ready to be okay with that. I'm going to be kind to myself if I can't manage to finish the 1,000 things I want to do next year. I'm just going to take what I did do proudly on to the next year. One of my favorite songs ever is Vienna by Billy Joel, and I think it's because I read this story where he talks about the making of Vienna, where he was, in Vienna with a friend of his or an uncle of his, and he sees this old woman sweeping up her terrace, and he makes a comment about how it's so sad to see her doing that at her age. And his companion turns to him and he says, "Well, she's alive, isn't she?" And Billy takes that comment and he writes this whole song about how you have your whole life to live and it's okay to slow down, and that we have this whole big life and we'll never accomplish all the things we want to do, but that's okay. It's important to remember that you're never gonna stop living, and you don't have to stop doing the things you love and working on the things you love. A successful day for me is a day where I did at least one thing that I love to do. So whenever I feel particularly shit about my progress, I just breathe and try and remember that. And honestly, you should too. Vienna waits for us.